This is WFO Radio.
Hey, how's everybody doing? WFO, Joe Castello back with you. And we got another WFO Radio NHRA Nitro episode. That's right. We're going to talk to the winners. We got two winners on this show. We got Greg Anderson. We have Matt Smith. And then we're going to put the Gatornationals behind us and just revel in their great success. But Greg just seconds away, 95 wins. Whew. 95, only 5 away from that 100, and he's starting off strong. We'll see him in a second, and then Matt Smith will be joining us about 20 minutes or so from now. Before we go any further, though, I want to recognize the people who make it possible for me to do WFO Radio, and I'm talking about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. Matt Hartford using that KB power. Yeah, I wonder what kind of rings are in there, huh? And certainly appreciate Total Seal. New episodes of Hidden Horsepower, the podcast, up and available. Check them out, TotalSeal.com. Also, Marvin Rodak, my buddy, going to be down there at the Motorplex for Funny Car Chaos, 64 funny cars this weekend. It's going to be great. Give him a call, 817-924-6821. That is Rodax. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed with Samtech.edu today. Blockhead CNC programs, motorsport EFI tuning. It's a great job, and you can follow your dreams. And who knows, you might end up working on a pro stock team. And, of course, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, becoming an alcohol funny car driver. All of those things are possible if you go see Frank Atlanta at frankhawley.com. All right, before we go any further, let's bring him on. He is the winningest active driver in pro stock. He is also the only winner of the 2021 Camping World season, Mr. Greg Anderson. GA, welcome back.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
How are you? So where are you? You're like in the basement, the secret.
No, this is actually Jason's dyno console room, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he stepped out right now. He's got a marine engine on the dyno right now, but he's not making a pull right now.
Okay. All right. Like I'm
borrowing his room.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I like the fact that without Jason's permission, you are sharing his private space.
Yeah.
I like it. Now, I saw him this past weekend at the Southern Sportsman Showdown Stock Super Stock race. Jason Line, the promoter, did very well. Was he particularly stressed out in the work environment as he got ready?
Yeah, I think you're like a fish out of water. He was a little tense on that whole deal. I watched quite a bit of you guys, Joe. You look like you had a big time down there.
I did. I had a great time. It was a lot of fun with Stock and Super Stock taking center stage, not unlike what we did with Pro Stock down in Orlando. I love specialty races, especially when there are, NHRA cars and amazing cars, trying to backflip. That's always fun.
Yeah. I saw a couple of them guys. That one guy in the Corvette tried to flip over backward there with the heads up race. That was pretty wild.
Yes, it was. Longany. And he did. He almost flipped over backwards.
Apparently, he took all the weight out of her.
He was trying to get it all and then some. The video's out there, folks, if you could see it. But between those two specialty events, we had a pretty big event called the Emily Motor Royal NHRA Gatornationals. It was race 1 of 2021, and you won it for your 95th career victory. That had to feel great to you had another little break since 2019 Dallas, since your last win. But to start a season off strong with authority has to feel great.
Yeah, it feels wonderful. It's been a long time, Joe. It was a long dry 2020. Not only did we go through all kinds of ups and downs and in and outs and not being able to race and then race and not being able to race. And I wasn't able to find my way to the winner's circle. So obviously Father Time's clicking away on me and you wonder if you'll ever get another win. But it was great to get another one. And, I guess drive home the fact that I guess I still can do it. So you definitely have doubts after a while, but that was a great feeling to know we could finally turn on 4 win lights in one day and get the trophy. So I don't know. I'm pretty happy about it. We had 5 months of work, shop time. That's the longest off season we've ever had. So we had a lot of work put in, and it looks like it paid dividends. We ran real well with all the KB team cars.
Yeah, I just want everybody to recognize, we're live from the dyno room at KB Racing. Take a second to think about that and digest it, everybody out there. It's pretty cool. I don't know what I can see. I see a couple of things, but nothing.
This is his console right here. This is where he sits and he drives it. This is his throttle right here. This is where he drives. Here's your window up here where the engine's inside of there.
you guys have taken on a lot of additional work, right? You've expanded KB Racing into many different areas. Saw some, the Haug family had a KB prepared stocker, and you mentioned marine engines, and we know you're doing showdown engines. Like, you guys are using what you've learned over the last 20 years and applying it to a whole raft of new combinations.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's been a lot of sportsman engines. Obviously, Jason's the tie-in with that. He's got a lot of sportsman buddies, all his sportsman roots. So we got a lot of stocker engines. We've got Copo factory shootout engines. We've got, like I said, a marine engine on the dyno right now. And, a lot of Brian House stuff, alcohol stuff. So, yeah, we're quite busy. And it seems like I've kind of divided the shop up, and I spend most of my time still working on pro stock stuff. But a lot of the other guys, they're doing all this extracurricular stuff. It helps pay the bills and helps get our pro stock cars to the racetrack.
Whatever it takes in a pro stock category, that is, I don't know. I feel like it's healthier than it has been in years, in that we've got young, fresh drivers like Kyle and Dallas and TJ, who you ran in the final round. So we've got like this fresh blood that is coming in. I would love to see some more, teams, ownership groups, but Fernando Quadra is giving it a run, and Frank Iaconio is making some power, and we're seeing a lot of movement. And that's the effort that you guys, along, Richard Freeman was right at the point of the spear on that, but so were you, to make some changes, and we see the changes paying off now, I think.
Yeah, I think the class is very deep, and it's not an old man sport anymore. There's a lot of young cats in there. I'm obviously, probably the oldest still at it out there by a mile. And it's kind of funny because it's like, as much as it seems like it's still the good old days and racing your old time buddies, it's like I made the final down there at Gainesville, and I go out there and do the burnout, and I'm backing up from the burnout, and I glance over to the left, and I see that big old yellow Jegs Camaro backing up alongside of me. I'm like, my God, it's Jag. He's back. He won't go away. That guy will not go away. So for a minute there, I thought I was still racing Jag, but that's not the truth. It's Troy Jr., and that's the new regime. And, we chopped a whole bunch of years off there, but it's still the same equipment. And, he drives the heck out of that race car. So great future for all these young cats.
All right, let's take a second to relive the final round. Since you brought it up, Fox Sports, Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon, Amanda Busick. Let's watch Greg Anderson win his 95th Pro Stock.
Up to the driver. The two 500 cubic inch engines sound very sedate at idle, but they will not when they go up on the rev limiter. Here we go, the final round of Gainesville, the Gatornationals in Pro Stock.
Coming versus Jag.
Troy Coughlin Jr. has problems. Greg Anderson has none. And for the 95th time in his career, Greg Anderson is a Pro Stock NHRA National Event winner. 6.602 seconds at 209 miles per hour.
Greg, on your 60th birthday, you were holding your 95th Wally. Could you have picked out a better present for yourself?
No, that's absolutely perfect. And sometimes just don't spoil yourself, I guess. And I guess it is good. So thank you to everybody that works on this great race team, this KB race team. Thank you, LB Davis, for helping us this weekend. Your logo, the Race Star wheels, looks wonderful on that race car. I think it made it run faster yet. So it was a match made in heaven. Hopefully we can do it some more. But thank you so much for all your support. Chevrolet Summit, everybody that helps us, thank you so much. Yes, we've got the Gatornationals finally in victory lane. Yeah!
You confused everybody with finally, because that was like your 5th Gatornationals. Finally.
Yeah, but it's been a long dry spell, Joe. Gatornationals or not, it's been a long dry spell. Almost 2 years, year and a half, I guess.
Well, you said it a long time ago, and I consider myself a storyteller, and not that everybody knows the story, especially in Pro Stock. You've got all these casual fans. And so I've been making a little bit about your age, 60 years old, and it's a very challenging thing. And you told us on the show, you referenced a country song, and I don't have it, but you can do, you get as good as you were every now and again. Yeah. But it seemed like the final third.
I think Jason knows it by heart, but I just I hear it once in a while, and I kind of laugh at that. And that was a perfect deal. You can be as good one time, or I don't know how it goes, but you can do it one time, but just not every time, or some damn thing like that. And there's a lot of truth to that. And when you get old like this, it seems like some days you got it, some days you don't. It's hard to be consistent. It's hard to be good all the time, and that's what these young cats have no problem doing. We saw that with Dallas Glenn, a brand new driver out there, and absolutely a piece of cake for the guy to go out there and cut a light every time down the racetrack. And you did a great job driving the car. It just seems to come easier when you're young. And I don't know if your brain's just not as cloudy or what it is. It's weird. As you get older, it just seems like too many things get into your thought process, and it's hard to concentrate fully and do the job right every time. So it's a challenge.
Doesn't that make sense though? Like the miles, right? It's just the way it is. The circle of life, the young and the strong come up. But to me, the thing that's great about drag racing is the ability to hold it off. Like if you were playing, hockey, Greg, which maybe growing up in Minnesota, you had the opportunity. 60-year-olds are all the Gordie Howe did pretty well going into his 50s. But, it's just the physical sports. But in racing, you can give away some of that. And the experience can work out. And judging by the last quarter of the year last year, you guys made the car switch. Seemed like something happened. I want you to talk about it if there was. And this is what I think. Hey, guys, we're not going to have too many opportunities. We're on the final. Is it one season? Is it 4 seasons? Is it 5 seasons? But still, limited opportunities to win these races. Let's do everything we can. And it's almost like, Greg Anderson's last stand, however long it lasts, going for championships, going for race win. Am I right about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, Joe. We did switch cars last year, and I kind of struggled with the car that I had been in, and we finally made a switch, and it helped. It absolutely paid dividends, and the car has been a dream to drive, and it's made a lot of fast runs. And I don't know what happens to cars. You just lose your way with them once in a while, and you can't find your way back home, and until you switch chassis, you can't get back there. So we did, and it all worked out, and we've got a better running Chevrolet here, and I'm able to contend for race wins again. And now it kind of falls back in the driver's lap. Can he hold his end up? So I had chances to win last year, after we switched cars, and I didn't get it done as a driver. It's just that simple. I'll admit it. There were certainly days that maybe the car didn't get the job done too, but there was probably more days that the driver didn't get the job done. So I've had a great running car for, at least probably the last 8-10 races, and had chances to win and finally, put it all together and didn't screw it up bad enough as a driver to lose the race. I had a, number one qualifying car, so I had the performance, and, I held it together. I got the right guy or right person at the right time and made the most of it each time, I guess. And that's what it takes to win anymore. There's so many cars that can win. We've got 5 cars under the KB Racing umbrella. When we showed up at the racetrack Sunday morning, any one of those 5 cars I thought had a great chance to win that day. So you just you got to do it all right. You got to have a lot of luck at the same time to go all the way on Sunday and get 4 win lights. And I was the lucky guy on Sunday and got her done. So pretty cool. And it just proves to you why we do it. That feeling you get when you turn that 4th win light on, and there's nothing like it, Joe. It's never gotten old for me. And I don't think it ever will. And I've said it a million times. You never know when your last win could be your last win. So you got to appreciate every single one you get. And I still do. This 95th one, feels like one of the very first ones, because it's just that you just don't know what the future brings. You just don't know how long you can keep it at that level. And you don't know how long you can continue to contend for race wins. So a great day.
You're still at the level. People are weighing in on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and otherwise. And, 95 wins. Mark says, which one is most memorable or means the most to you? And I'll piggyback on that, because that's a tough question, right? 95 wins, but also winning on your birthday. Had you done that before? 95 wins, and, that's got to be something special, winning on your birthday. I
had not ever won on my birthday before, and so it's pretty special, but I just want to emphasize how difficult it is to win anymore. I'm not, sitting here trying to say that it's been easy to win in the past, because it certainly hasn't, but it absolutely seems like year after year it gets harder and harder and harder to close the deal, to get the job done. So I think this last one, as I said, because you never know when your last one could be your last one, this last one it feels the best right now. I can tell you that.
Well, exactly. Now, you mentioned a couple people asking various questions about, the difference in sponsors this year, right? Like Summit not on the door, but on the car. I don't know if you've addressed that in the past, but that was a persistent question that is coming up. People wanting to know what the status is on that.
Okay, well, Summit is an associate sponsor this year. They're not a major sponsor. They're not on the door. They've stepped back to an associate role. They still want to be heavily involved. They just don't want, the complete major sponsorship role anymore. They want to try it a year and see how it goes that way. Just try something different. They've done this for a lot of years, and I certainly understand it's just a business decision. So they've stepped back to an associate role and still very involved with our race team, just not on the doors. So we're very actively trying to basically, sell the doors and find a major sponsor for the car for the rest of the season. We've got some one race gigs so far, but we don't have anything sewed up for the entire year. And that's the goal, to find someone else to go on the doors and find a great partner like Summit's been for all these years.
No, that's good to know, though. I mean, as much as you see, I always like to look at it from the, and everybody knows this. They make fun of me for being a little overly positive, but what a great run you guys had with Summit. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, what if at the beginning of the deal, and we say this all the time, there would be this many championships and this many race wins. And then when they pulled back a little. Like, I'd take it.
It was 2004 when they signed on with us, and they had been, racing with other racers for a lot of years before that. So they've done this for a lot of years, and it's obviously turned out to be a very good deal for them business wise. It's definitely a direct tie-in. And, I feel and I hope that we've been great partners with them, and they've been great for us. We've been great, I hope, for them. So it's been a perfect marriage, and it's not a divorce. As I said, we just stepped back to a little bit smaller role, but they're still very prominently on the car. And hopefully Bill will be as long as I continue to race. So, still love that company, love everybody involved up there, and got a lot of friends up there, and they're still 100% behind our program. But we do need to find, someone else to get on that door for the remainder of the season. So our sponsor hat is back on. Been a lot of years since we've kind of been in that situation, but it's a different challenge. But we're all actively pursuing and chasing down leads and trying to find a new partner. So we'll see how things turn out.
Excellent. No, I think it's going to turn out great. Chasing Matt Smith is on there. He's next up, by the way. And Matt has got a question that I'm going to ask you right at the end. Maybe I'll make Matt ask you because it's a good question. It's a fair question and it's a fun question. But, chasing 100, like, you just want to win the next race. You just want to race and you don't know if it's going to be the last race you have ever won. But that would be a bummer to finish up with 95, right? That 100 number, we've made a big deal of it. And I know it's on your mind to go get
it. It's certainly not all I think about, but do I want to get to 100? Would that be cool? You're darn right it would, and I don't see myself quitting until I get there. I want to try and get there before I hang up the cleats. And I don't know, who knows? Maybe it can happen this year yet. The way we're off to a great start. We've certainly got a chance. We've got a chance every race we go to, to turn on the win lights. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see how this 60-year-old shoe can get her done. And if we can do what we did at Gainesville and do things right, we'll have a chance again.
Well, exactly. It's as simple as that. And that's why we do it. And NHRA is, guys that are 60 rooting for the old guy, Greg Anderson, to go get it done one more time. Erica says she's old, right? She says she feels like a grandma, which I don't, I'm not buying that. Like, sorry, I'm older. I know what it's like. But at the same time, you do have this youth movement and you're working with some of these guys. You mentioned Dallas and of course, Kyle. And I want you to speak about being a mentor and how it's different. You've got all of a sudden these young guys that I'm sure they're eager, if not desperate, to learn as much as is possible that you're willing to put out there, which I'm sure is a lot. But talk a little bit about that relationship and Dallas in particular, since he's doing it the old school way. Got a gig, swept the floor, did all the tough jobs, and now has an opportunity to drive the car.
Well, Dallas's deal is very similar to my road, the way I got into the deal, too. I was obviously working for Warren Johnson for a lot of years and just wanted a chance to try it once and got a chance to try it a couple times in one of his cars. But I had to finally, move outside of his operation to get a real chance, a full-time gig of trying to do this for a full season. So that's why I did it. That's why I left. I wanted to drive and same deal. I was a crew chief. In a crew guy and in a crew chief and wanted a chance at driving, just like Dallas Glenn is. So very similar, and it's kind of neat to watch. And I'm very proud of him. He did a great job, and very proud of Kyle Koretsky. Kyle is absolutely going to win. He's a win waiting to happen, and a great kid. Obviously, everybody knows his father well, and if you can't have a good time with with Kenny Koreski, you can't have a good time in a life, period. So a lot of fun. It's brought a lot of smiles and a lot of laughs to our team, which we needed. We, tend to get too serious once in a while. So we enjoy the heck out of those guys and love the hell out of Kyle, and he's doing a great job, and he's absolutely going to win races going forward and championships. So I think it's been a great match, and they're great to watch. I like watching these young cats, and man, they're all doing a great job. I can't tell you any one of them that's just not getting it done. Every one of them's doing a great job, and is a threat to win the race.
Yeah, definitely. And Kyle is good. And there was something that happened at Gainesville, which somebody thought maybe Kyle had done something that, anyway, the bottom line is I asked him, and he said, I got a chance to race a pro stock car. I'm not stepping out of line in any way because he's so passionate about what he's doing. And so that's exciting. Plus you get to have the captain around.
Like I say, if you can't have a good time around him, you can't have a good time.
There you go. All right, a couple more questions, and then I'll bring on Matt real quick, and we'll let you go. I appreciate you taking the time. Everybody wants you to make a dyno poll, but I know that's not happening. The question out there, greatest rival, right? 95 wins. So the greatest rival question has, I'm sure, changed over the years. I'll lead into what I think it is this year, but for Flinch out there, when you look back, greatest rival.
Well, obviously, Jag has been, one heck of a rival for me for a lot of years, and we just had titanic battles, and you think that everything in the world is on the line. I'm racing for Summit Racing Equipment. He's racing for Jag's mail order parts. It's just like Home Depot and Lowe's going at it. It's
exactly
everything. It means everything to the employees that work there. It means everything to us on this team, and obviously everything on the Jags team. So a lot of final rounds, a lot of great races, and decided by thousands that we thought would be the end of the world if we lost. And the world did go on after one of us lost. So it's still, I guess, just racing, but very, very fun and a lot of tense days. And he's probably been my toughest challenge for a lot of years. Obviously, everybody knows what a great driver he is and what a great job he does. So anytime you beat him, you feel wonderful. And I certainly lost my share too, but we had a lot of great wins too. So been a great rival.
When you have 95 wins, like anything you say like that is a huge deal. 95 wins. It's unbelievable. Of course, chasing the professor, 2 more to get to that milestone, to have the most in pro stock. I think that would be great, of course. I want to talk about Erica real quick. Just when I handicap this season, I think about all the young guns, and I don't want to discount or discredit anybody, and I think everybody has got a very legitimate chance, and they're making power, and who knows, people like Matt Hartford and Derek Kramer and Troy Coughlin Jr. and all of that. But the experience and the talent and the horsepower and the checking off all the boxes, there are 2 real drivers, and it's you and Erica, right? That have been there in the fight for a long time and have got the history for a long time. And with Jason and Bo and Jag stepping away, it only makes sense that you 2 would be the co-favorites to fight for the title. Title. So without
I think so.
You have to assume that. So what is your analysis on that situation?
No, I think you're probably right on the money. I feel that way too. And I'm guessing she probably does too. It's she's the leader of the elite team. And I guess I'm the leader of the KB racing team. And we've got, very deep teams of 5 and 6 drivers on our teams, but no doubt we've got the premier spot. And if there's one engine that makes maybe 1 horsepower more, it's probably going to be in my car or Erica's car. So we're the ones with all the experience. We get probably what we would think is the best equipment, and we've got the most experience. We've been there, done that. We don't have excuses. So, yes, we're expected to get the job done. The both of us are, and I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. And I love racing her, and I think we've had some great battles, and we'll continue to have more. But neither of us have any excuses, Joe. We got everything it takes, all the equipment it takes, and all the people behind us and resources behind us. And, it just comes down to drivers. And we all know what a great job she's done driving that car. She's done fantastic. And that's why she's a 4-time world champion.
Well, exactly. No, I'm excited. Like, to me, like those battles, the history you guys have had, like back to her first win, the championship, you qualifying 16th, like all those great storylines, they're all going to bubble up this year. All right. One final question, but I'm not going to ask it. I want to thank you for coming on. Let's bring on another 4-time champion. It's in the subject of, mentoring young development drivers. And let's bring on Matt Smith. Matt, hello. Greg, Matt, Greg. How you guys doing? What's up, Matt?
How you doing, Greg?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Good. All right. So my question to you is, will you ever put Cody in the car, as a driver, or have a father-son team?
I would love to, Matt. I obviously I'm going to do this, as long as I think I can still win. And I don't know, Matt, if that's going to be 6 months, 3 months, or 2-3 years yet. I have no earthly idea. But when I get to that point, I'm not going to stay too long. I'm not going to stay out there and just block traffic and just be there. I'm going to stay as long as I can win. As soon as I can, I'm going to get out. And he'll be my number one choice to put in a car. But obviously, we've got to have sponsors that agree to that and team owners that would got to agree to that. But would I love to see it? You're darn right I would.
Wait a second. All right. First of all, wait, Matt. Number one, does Cody want to do that, Greg? Like Cody is okay, he does. Because at first, Cody was like not involved.
He probably a year or two ago, but obviously his buddy is Tanner Gray, and we all know what he did in this deal, and he's the one that lit the fire under him, and he still needles me every time I see him. When are you going to put Cody in the car? When are you going to put Cody in the car? When are you going to put Cody in the car? Well, I don't quite have the exact avenue you had to get in the car, but someday it'll happen, and I'm going to do the best I can to make it happen. But I would love to be able to do that. It's probably going to be more fun if that happens for me to watch my kid do it than it ever was, watching myself on TV or whatever. I'll get a bigger kick out of that.
And so on that note, though, what happens first? Does Cody Anderson drive a pro stock car, or does Matt Smith drive a pro mod car? And are you secretly driving Cody to get involved in pro stock motorcycle through this, Matt, and all of it? Go ahead. Just
No, he struggles enough with his street car with 4 wheels. I can't imagine him on 2 wheels.
No, it's just the topic. I always wanted to get in a car myself, and my dad is who he is, and Greg's the same way. And I had to go out and do it myself to prove to my dad that I wanted to do it. And yes, I've got to drive his pro mod car some and this and that, but I think I've made a name for myself in the pro stock motorcycle. So I just wanted to know if Greg was even entertaining the idea of putting Cody in the car.
Love it. Love it. Greg, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on with us. We'll let you go, but thank you for spending time. Congratulations on the win. And really, this is just one race, right? One race of this season. Next up, 4-wide Vegas, 4-wide pro stock. I know, right? Are you guys there? I don't even know. Yes. But
I like the 4-wide deal. I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while since I've been able to do it, but I'm looking forward to it. And obviously Vegas, great place to race, great racetrack. So I'm excited. And we've had a month, or we'll have had a month by the time we make the first burnout at Vegas to celebrate this last win.
Exactly. A long off season, a long celebration, but we're going to get rolling real soon. And then it's going to be not a lot of time for anything other than racing. Greg, thank you very much. Thanks for showing us inside that dyno room, by the way. That is what I think everybody's going to talk about. I think that'll be my clickbait headline. See the inside of KB Racing dyno room with Greg Anderson.
Maybe we'll turn the camera through the window next time.
just a little slight turn, Greg. Just like a little slight turn. Don't get in trouble, though. Just a slight, like he's not doing it. All right, there it is. Greg, thank you very much.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, there he goes, Greg Anderson. Later, Greg, with us here on WFO Radio. And Matt, you got your question in. I would love to see Cody out there doing it. Hopefully Cody is watching. And I can tell from his, I guess Tanner Gray did light the fire under him because Cody, he's a kid. I was a kid. You were a kid. At what point did you decide, I have to race? I want to race. I'm going to do all this. I'm going to sacrifice and do what I got to do to race, as opposed to being a kid. A lot of kids kind of float around.
Well, I mean, a lot of people probably don't know, but when I first graduated high school, I moved to Tumble, Iowa, and I went and worked on Tommy Johnson's Top Fuel car. And, I worked for Tommy Sr. himself, who we just lost last week.
Rest in peace. Yes, Tommy Sr.
So, that was my first gig besides, my dad, me just hanging out with my dad and doing stuff like that, who was, racing back in the day. So once I went up there and did that for a couple of years, 100%, I wanted to drive myself. So I made it back to North Carolina and I worked for my dad for a couple of years. And then I went and got me a bike and started doing it myself. And, and here I am. This is where I've gone to.
Yeah, well, a bunch of world championships and done everything and won everything at that point, the specialty races, except for something crazy that you did this past weekend or 2 weeks ago when you ran 200 mile per hour every time down the racetrack in eliminations. That's a pretty crazy milestone. The last time we spoke, You said that's what you wanted to see for the class. 200s popping up on the board more often because it's a big deal. It seems one race in, we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was good for the Suzuki's to finally break 200 mile an hour too, because it's just been B twins so far. But they've got the stuff that they need to go fast and win races. And for us to go 200 mile an hour 4 times in a row, which we actually did it 5 times in a row. We did the last qualifying pass and all 4 times on Sunday. I thought I had did it at Pomona in 2018, and I didn't do it first round, in 18, but I did it every other run besides that. So it's good to get something first time. It's like going to a new racetrack and winning the first race there. Our team's done that numerous times, so it's good to set that milestone and get that done.
Well, exactly. And becoming reliable. I remember how it was in pro stock, right? And Greg was a part of that. And then you see it once, and then will we see it again? Are we going to have to wait months? And then you start seeing that number on a regular basis. And there will never be a time where seeing 200s on the board on a motorcycle, I think, will become a boring thing, because it's just crazy that it's happening at all.
Yeah, especially for being all motor. It's pretty easy to do with it on nitro or nitrous or turbo, but to do it on all motor, to go 200 mile an hour is pretty amazing. And there's not been that many 200 mile an hour side-by-side passes. And I know me and Eddie did it at Gainesville, I think 3 years ago, side-by-side. So there hasn't been a lot of runs like that. Maybe 1 or 2 in the history, I think, of 200 mile an hour side-by-side runs. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more of that this year.
Well, I hope so too. So let's talk about your race. You were in the number 2 qualifier. Angel was flying, and it was great. It was announcing that bike with authority. But first round 81 against Jimmy Underdahl, who is back, and one of the cool guys out there that I feel like is going to have the capability of winning races. You got through that, and then Hector Jr., who went 197.97. He was the first over. It was a very close race. You won it on the starting line. That gets you to the semis. Tell us about those 2 rounds to build the momentum to go to the semis and get, race day rolling.
Yeah, when you go for first round, I've lost a lot of times to Jimmy Underdahl, and he's kind of been a thorn in my shoe when I race him. But, I knew I just needed to go up there and go 030, 040 on the tree and let the bike do the work. And hopefully, something stupid didn't break or fall off the bike. And, we won that round. And then I go up against Hector Jr., which I think we were 1,000ths apart from E1. And I had lane choice by 1 thou, I think. And, I win an 81 again or something like that, or 80, and he slowed up a little bit. And, we got that round win, which that was really big for us, to win the second round. So now we're in the final 4, I call it. And, I've got me on one side of the ladder and my teammate, Scotty Polachek, on the other side. So we have 2 MSR bikes that can go to the finals. And, going up to semifinals, I'm second pair, and I watch Scotty, and the oil pressure light comes on after the burnout, and I'm just like sick to my stomach. And it just one of them deals. It just happens, to our bikes. We don't know exactly 100% why and what's going on, but sometimes a little piece of trash will get stuck in the plunger on the oil pump, and it cuts the oil pressure light on. And if we run it down the track, the motor's going to blow up, and you're going to lose anyway. So there's no use in running it. That's why I put them on there. So, but my semifinal round, I'm trying to think. Who'd I have?
You and Steve Johnson.
Me and Steve Johnson. Yeah.
There's some history there, I think.
The hobby race, right?
The hobby race. It was a fun history, right? Like, come on. First of all, I know you guys had fun with that, and at some level it was serious initially, but now given the attention, and Steve has gone back and worked on his bike, and his bike is fast, and obviously what happened with Jock and all, just so much water under the bridge now. I don't know, man. I'd like to see you guys race a lot this year, because I feel like it could go either way.
Well, and it probably will. I mean, maybe that's what it took for to get the Suzuki teams and some of those guys to go work on their stuff. And, they've stepped their performance up. They've done their job. And, yes, they got some rules in their favor, with the new motor and the new fuel and even the new bodywork that we didn't even know about was coming out. So, they got a lot of stuff to help them, and it looks like it's helped them, and it might have went a little too far. But back on with Steve, I mean, just to run Steve, he's been out there so long. I think he's probably he's got more races than anybody in our class, out there. And to run him, he's always fast. You kind of know what he's going to do a lot of times. He likes to stage first, and then sometimes he'll mess around and want to stage last, and I think it messes him up more than it helps him, and I just went up there and I made sure that I double bulbed him and got him first, and and everything worked like it's supposed to. I turned the wind light on, and it got under him, I think, a little bit, because I think he was a little bit later than what he probably should have been, but he's got new 4-valve motors, and they're going to be fast. It showed he was fast there, and they're going to be faster. That was first race out with it. So I expect to see us running Steve a lot more this year, and him being in the Final Four and finals a lot more this year.
Yeah, it's wide open in Pro Stock Motorcycle. All right, a couple of comments out there. We're out there on Facebook and YouTube. This one, don't know who it is, but he wants to know about your brakes. Behringer brakes, is that what you use? 200 mile per hour certified now. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so when we ran off the racetrack, I won't say it was a brake failure, because we've run PM brakes for all of our life. But something broke. I don't know if a rotor was cracked or a bolt was broke or something cracked, because we had just left Bradenton and went 677 at 200.83 mile an hour. Didn't have a bit of problem stopping. We come here in first pass, and when I hit the brakes down there, it just exploded. The rotor exploded. And yeah, I've probably got more runs on my equipment of 200 mile an hour stopping than anybody else. So that I've got to start looking at brakes a little bit more than I have in the past. But I had no brakes, none whatsoever when I hit it. And by the race pack, I went into sand trap at 78 mile an hour when I hit it. And I was just lucky to keep it upright. I didn't want to lay the bike down and tear up a bunch of stuff and all that, because we were running 4 bikes and didn't have a lot of spare parts of body work and parts like that at Gainesville. So after that happened, was coming back up, and Joey Gladstone was one of the first people to come over and said, "Hey," he says, "we got our spare Buell upstairs. Why don't you come over? If you need it, just get it." Well, about 2 hours later, I went over there to him and said, "Hey," I said, "I need the stuff, So we got the bike out, and I helped him take the front wheel off, and I took the whole brake system and their Behringer brakes right off from the master cylinder all the way down. We didn't take nothing. We just bolted right up on my stuff. And 5 runs in a row, that thing went 200 mile an hour with that front wheel on, and the brake stopped awesome. And I can't say enough about Corey and Joey for letting me borrow that, because I probably wouldn't have won the race, if this wouldn't have happened. So I got to thank them tremendously for letting me borrow the stuff, and their stuff is pretty awesome.
Well, I'm excited for them. Another team that is going to be competing. I know Joey Gladstone is going to win races, and Corey as well. Very cool stuff. So the final round, you and Fly and Ryan, let's take a second to watch the video from Fox. Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon, Amanda Busick on the call.
Twice in a row. Both bikes pre-stage. The first final round of this 52nd Gatornationals. Brian Ayler, 0.14 reaction time. Does Smith have the horsepower to overcome that number? Yes, he does. A fourth 200-mile-an-hour run, and Matt Smith claims his 26th career victory in the Gatornationals. 678.5 at 200. What a performance.
And guys, you're about to see an excited Greg Anderson get out behind us as well. But, Matt, you were running to the starting line with your helmet in your hand. How did you calm yourself down to get that win?
I just got to race my lane. This Denso, Lucas Oil, Greg Butcher Truck, and Mark Stockseth, this bike is on me this weekend. We haven't been able to get the ET we need, but it's been running the speed. But, man, Mama Lisa, we miss you. Corey and Joey, thank you for letting me borrow the front wheel and the front brakes, because I wouldn't have made this race without you.
Look, you guys couldn't escape each other even on WFO, right? Like, you're in the same frame, you're on the same screen for the win at the Gatornationals. It's just, it's only right that you be on the same WFO radio episode. But you were thrashing. Like, you guys came up. I don't know if the TV audience knows that something was up, but you guys, you almost missed it. Like, they were really close to pulling the plug on you. Do you know that?
Well, that was the thing. So here's the deal. So they told us what time to be up there, and they always come by, and within 10 minutes of being ready to go, they come by and say, "Hey, you ready? Everything good? Let's go." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So nobody showed up. Nobody come by our pits. And then next thing I know, we hear a V-twin crank up over there. And one of my crew guys said, "Oh, Ryan must have changed motors, because he just started his bike up." Well, Ryan wasn't even in his pits, and I didn't know that. He was already up at the start line. So finally, when the guy come by, he's like, "Hey, you need to be in the water now. You're going live in 2 minutes." I'm like, nobody even told us. We were waiting. So I loaded the map real quick, and I rushed up there, and we got up there, and I mean, Ryan was already dressed and all that and sitting on the bike. And I'm like, I wanted to watch to get the tire pressure to where it needs to be. And I walked up there. I just wanted to look at my spot, and I had my helmet. I was putting everything on, and the starter goes, "Get to your bike now. You got to go now." And I'm like, he said, "Get to your bike." And I'm like, "All right, I'll go where I think I need to be." And, I knew the guys were going to push my bike up and have it ready for me in front of the water. I just had to get on it and then focus on my side. But that was the reason we were late. We didn't have any kind of problems, nothing like that. We just kind of got from it's first race of the year. And I think, everybody's not on par with what needs to be, because in the past, they've always come by and said, "Hey, you got 10 minutes to go. Let's go." And, so we didn't get told that, but we got up there. We made it work, and we won the race. And, like I always say, I race my lane. It doesn't matter who's over there. I go 20, 30 on the tree. 9 times out of 10, I'm winning that round, as good a bike as I've got. And that's what I did.
Simple as that, right? And it's I think about Warren Johnson back in the day, except the number was like 50, right? Like if I do this, it's going to be very hard for people to beat me, and that's where you are. All right, a couple of things. These guys, as promised, the bobbleheads are in the studio. I'm so happy I swung by the pit afterwards so that I could acquire these. Decoration for inside the WFO studio. I've gotten a lot of comments. Reinhardt's got his. I've got mine, so we're very excited about these. What inspired this?
That was all Lisa. Lisa at Denso. They did bobbleheads. They did one of me, one of Angie, and one of Clay Milliken. So we all have our own bobbleheads, and they're promotional stuff that gets put out, and they're giveaways. And we just try to. I think we're going to do some giveaways through the year with some special stuff, and they're just neat to have. I mean, I've never had my own bobblehead, so it's pretty neat.
Now you do. Now I think Angie looks a little more accurate than you do. What do they say? That this guy's got way too much hair is what they say?
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm growing my hair out a little bit. Mama Lisa told me she wants to see me with long hair. So, and when we went on vacation this winter, I was growing my hair out. She's, "Matt," she goes, "don't cut the hair." And then after I won the race, she goes, "Matt, really? I'm telling you now, I love the hair. Do not cut the hair." So we're going to go with it for a while and see what happens.
No, I think that's a smart move. Another smart observation. First race of the year, right? It's just it's a challenge for everybody. And I'm not saying anything happened or went wrong or so. Like, I just know from my side of the little universe that everyone is getting reacclimated to everything. And so if something were to fall through a crack, there's a good chance that it's going to happen at the first race. Everybody will be tuned up. Talk about 4 wide a little bit, and all you people out there watching. Final questions for Matt Smith. If you got a question, let's hit them. You guys did a Facebook Live last night. I want to ask you about that too. But 4 wide Vegas. What do you think?
It's a Denso race.
Yeah,
we got to go with. We got 3 Denso bikes, and we're going to do our best to put 1 of them, 2 of them, 3 of them in that final 4, and try to get that win light. So. I won the very first 4 wide ever at Charlotte, and we're going to look to see if we can do it out there. And for Denso and Lucas Oil and Mark Stockseth and Greg Butcher Truck and all the people that help us, we're going to try to turn them win lights on and be there.
Yes. First race of the season, the Gatornationals is always the first race for Pro Stock Motorcycle, but some people have been wondering if maybe just everybody starting on the East Coast at the same time would be a good thing. Certainly Pro Mod. We had your dad on a couple of weeks ago, by the way. What did you think of that? Do you think that could be a thing?
I think it's a good thing. I think it gives the Nitro teams and the Pro Stock car a couple, 2 or 3 more weeks to do that. I think eventually when this thing gets, I really think the start needs to be in Gainesville. And then when we do this swing right here, we know Pomona got delayed, but maybe we could go Pomona, Vegas, and Phoenix and knock all 3 of them out on one deal and save the racers some money besides going out, back. So I think it's something NHRA needs to look at, and I think it'll be a good deal to start the season on the East Coast like this.
And to put another month or so between the 2 Pomona races, which, the finals, if you're going to choose one or the other, the finals is going to be the one that you probably go to see all the championships happen. But the Winter Nationals, and by the way, we're not making policy here, just people have been asking about it. Like, wow, that was actually pretty good to start in Gainesville. Maybe that's what we need to do. I don't know, but I appreciate your opinion. And yeah, Angie says you need to get a haircut. And so Angie, Lisa's for it, but Angie's against it.
Yeah, I've got to go with the person that writes our paychecks, and she likes it. And we won the championship, and we won the first race with longer hair, and we're going to roll with it right now.
There you go. Yeah. So sorry, Angie. Tough stuff. So you guys did a Facebook Live last night, and Angie was just kind of bringing everybody around the shop. I happened to be able, maybe it was today, maybe it was last night. I don't know. I think it was last night. But you were working on a Suzuki 4-valve for something, which I thought was interesting. But she was panning the shop and said that you've got new body work also. What
Yes.
new body work do you have for the Pro Stock motorcycle that's casually sitting on the floor in the corner over there? What can we expect?
Well, it's the new Corey Reed body work. It's kind of the duplicate stuff that Hector Rana was selling. It's the same stuff Corey and Joey's got on their bikes. You're going to see if some more V twins come out from the Indianapolis area, they're going to have that body work on too of Corey and Joey's. And we got our first set. So all 4 bikes that I have right now are currently the Hector Rana body stuff from him, but it's the new stuff, and we're supposed to be developing some new Buell body work that people are going to see in the future in the next couple of years to come out. So you'll see a little bit different, but we will do that down the road.
There you go. Now the V twin stuff, like, are you, you're not locked in on anything, but you've got a lot of great engines. You figured it all out, but you're working on a Suzuki as well. So you're making sure you know about that engine and what it's capable of, clearly.
Yeah. We, a lot of people don't know, we did the 4-valve head that Richard Gaskin runs over in XDA with the Pro Street bikes. And that's the Monstar head, and we did that, and he set the record for the nitrous bikes at, I think, 640s or some high 630s at, unbelievable 218, 220, somewhere around there. So we know how to make the stuff go fast. We are currently right now working on a real street bike for Angie. It's an all motor 1000. That's going to be 1200 cc's. It's a 4-valve, and we're getting it together. Landon Ingram's helping me get that motor together, and we're going to debut it at the XDA race the week after Vegas race at Maryland, and let her ride that. It's a no wheelie bar bike. So we'll be doing that. But like I said at Gainesville, anybody that wants me to do a Suzuki 4-valve, I promise that if they do that and they want to do it, I can make that go fast. I just want to have total control. I'll ride it, and I'll build the motors and do everything, unless they just want to buy the Vance and I stuff, and then I just tune it and go ride that stuff. It doesn't matter to me, but I can promise you I want to show how fast that stuff really is.
So on that note, and this will be a great final question. I've never heard you talk about this. I was thinking about this last night watching the live stream, actually. Vance and Hines, look at their great success, forged originally from, success early on, a lot of NHRA success, and they started to sell stuff, branded stuff, Vance and Hines, branded stuff, pipes and then gear and then everything, right? Like, well, what about Matt Smith racing stuff or MSR stuff or some sort of something that you could put out there? Maybe you have some things that I don't even know about, but so that the guy with a casual bike, right, can feel quicker, faster, like a racer on his street bike. Like, have you thought about branding something and start into that manufacturing process and offering up something for the motorcycle world? Or if you already do, what is it?
I'm not a big enough company to do that like Vance and Hines is. It's just me and Angie here in the shop working, and it takes every bit of our time to run these 4 Pro Stock motorcycles and to do the little stuff that we do on the side. They have 20-some employees up there, so they can do stuff like that with no problem. I mean, they have all the knowledge and CNC equipment to do all that. I don't have any of the desire to build stuff like that for people. That's why I have lease bikes. And if people want to come and ride a motorcycle and they have their Pro Stock motorcycle license, then yes, we entertain that. If they will pass the test and do everything I want done, then yes, I'll put them on a good quality bike that can win races. And almost everybody that's ever rented from us has won a race if they've ran a season or 2 with us. Anywhere from John Hall to Scotty Polachek now to Angie to Michael Ray. So people that have run full seasons with us we've about got all of them in NHRA Wally in it, and that makes me feel good inside to be able to do that.
That is great, and it's an excellent point. All right, final question. Kev wants to know if you'll ever get on a Top Fuel bike.
I would get on one. I know that Lisa doesn't want me on one, and Angie doesn't want me on one, but I'm the type of person, I just want to go fast. I'm like Ricky Bobby. I just want to go fast, and I will ride anything that anybody wants me to. I just have to look over it and be sure it's safe enough. But I don't see any reason why I would not want to jump on one and do it at some point.
That's great. Great news. Matt, thank you very much for coming on WFO Radio. Thanks for the bobbleheads. Appreciate that. Congratulations on the win to you and Angie and the whole team. I think Scotty shutting it off on the starting line was very smart. Like, my goodness, why would you want to scatter that guy? It's been so good to Scotty. Really appreciate you coming on the show. Oh, and your mom doesn't want you on one either, says Angie, who's monitoring. That's a good point. I don't know if I want you on one, man. But hey, you do what you want. Appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for sharing a little time and spending it with the WFO universe. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe, and I appreciate you having me on.
All right. There he goes. Matt Smith with us here on WFO Radio. How about that? We got Matt, we got Angie, we got Greg. They were combined in their Winner Circle interview. They're combined on WFO, and that's what this show is all about. So if you like it, subscribe. If you're on Facebook, just follow the page and you'll always get a notification. Or you're on YouTube, subscribe and click the bell. You know, it's like 1,000 subscribers. Our YouTube channel was so lame for a long time. But now we've got this tuned up and dialed in, and we're even doing some unique content. So subscribe and click the bell on YouTube, and we want to get over 1,000 subscribers. That would be a big deal. I know it seems like a little number, but it all depends on who you're comparing to. And Twitter, also, those of you who are out there watching on Twitter, really appreciate you. You can share, but it all comes back to the podcast. WFO Radio is a podcast. It's audio only for people that are working, driving, working on stuff in the shop. They got an earbud and they can listen. They're taking tolls on the highway. They're teaching young students. They've got an earbud in. No, I'm kidding. But you get the point. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll keep these shows coming. So that's the good news. Put your comments in the comment section, your final comments, and then we're going to bust on out of here for the week. I did get my driver's side door window motor done on my 1998 Firebird. For those of you that were wondering, how did the motor project go? One of them has been completed. The driver's side door of the Pontiac Firebird was great. Also, I tested negative today for the Rona. Went and got a test. I'm super excited. After 3 weeks at the races and everything, negative. So I feel great. That's good news, especially to you, sir, without the mask, who was talking to me. You're off the hook, at least for now. That is all good. But next week will be spring break for WFO. And so the early part of the week, there will be no shows. You guys will be in the archive, like fishing around, looking for good stuff in the archive so that I may handle some spring break related things with the fam. And you'll definitely love diving around in the archive and looking for stuff. And we'll try to catch up later on in the week and make up for lost ground. But that's why I wanted to get all of this Gatornationals stuff in the books. I wanted to get it all dialed in and locked in. The 2021 Camping World NHRA Gatornationals and the Amalie Motor Oil Gatornationals are in the books on WFO Radio. The challenge is going to be getting winter views later on in the year when we have like 4 drivers to interview and races on back-to-back weeks. That's going to be tough. I have found out that I will not be in Vegas with the NHRA, but I will be in upcoming races. So that for those that were concerned, I'll be out there somewhat. Let's see. Awesome show. Thank you, Kev. Let's see. Great show. Let's go watch Funny Car Chaos. Yeah, that's going to be on Flow Racing. Marvin Rodak is going to be there along with many other WFO listeners. And it's crazy. Like Del Worsham and so many others are going down there to run. Richard Hartman going to try to set a record with Kevin Kinsley behind the wheel of that crazy Altered. They're trying to set records. It looks like it's going to be a fun race of funny cars. Total Seal. Really appreciate you guys supporting WFO Radio. Also, samtech.edu. Here's the one I'm looking for. Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. If you see Marvin at Funny Car Chaos, you got to shout out like, hey, Marvin, and say what's up. Good guy. Of course, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Want to remind you guys, we're back in stock with our face coverings. You get WFO stickers as well. And in Florida, they're opening vaccines up to 40 and over next week. So I'm super excited about that. But I've heard the analogy of spiking the football on the 5-yard line. I've heard the analogy that I've made of the horror movie and the last person to get offed. You don't want to be that person. So, hey, maybe you wear your face covering just a little while longer. But I'm really feeling good about the way things are going. Boy, Matt and Greg were great. Hey, I want to mention the Patreons. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. We just welcomed some brand new Patreons each of the past 2 days. So let's keep it 3 days in a row, man. Let's get a 3-day Patreon streak. What happens is at the conclusion of the show, like now, I mentioned that there's a super VIP listener club. You can get there on WFOradio.com. Just click Patreon. They get specialized content. They get to watch the record session of the Ignition show. They get some cool Patreon swag every now and again in an unpredictable manner. And more importantly, they get specialized Patreon content and a welcome. If you really love WFO and you got a couple extra bucks in the couch, maybe you want to go to patreon.com/WFO Radio and let's try to make it 3 days in a row with a new Patreon. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, let's see what the final comments are. Good job, guys, today. Good job. I like the Greg, Erica storyline. That's what I'm pushing. If at the end of the year it doesn't come down to those two, I won't be surprised. I really think Matt Hartford has got a really good opportunity to go out there and mix it up in the championship. Troy Coughlin Jr., it's going to be tough. But if we could have just another Greg, Erica slugfest down the stretch, that would be super great. That would be fun. And we got to see the Dino Room. Yesterday, we had Josh Hart on the show. If you didn't see Josh was great. He's in the archive. Super cool kid. And that is the most I've spoken with Josh Hart at any point. We've had conversations, and he was on WFO after winning the U.S. Nationals in a fuel, but he just laid out his personal methodology and gave some great advice. So you got to check that one out if you didn't already. And I got to credit Steve Brenwald for taking some great shots. These are the shots that I love when you see the driver and the car, and it's the people, right? It's the people that people love following. GA, Matt Smith, good job, everybody. And Steve Brenwald of Brenwald Media taking some good hot shots out there. All right, let's see what people got to say before we get on out of here. Dave, awesome show. Thank you. No, thank you, Dave. And thanks to Greg and Matt. Thanks for another great show. Monica, no Vegas, bummer. I'm not bummed out. Obviously, I would rather go, but you never know. You never know what might happen. Bummer, we're hoping to see you in Vegas. Yeah, Vegas, baby. Kind of pricey to get out there to Vegas right now, though, isn't it? Maybe you can announce at the Mile Highs. Well, I would hope so. Let's see. We'll see. As you know, like things are changing rapidly, guys. Things are changing rapidly. That's why you got to wear the mask, right? To get WFO Joe out to the racetrack. All the way with WFO Jay, one of our new Patreons. Way to go, Jay. And Kev is a Patreon. Show the $10,000 pin. Yeah, the 10th. I lost the $10,000 pin, Kev. I lost it. What we have decided, and then I broke Angie. What we have had is Patreon pins. And once you achieve a certain level of patronage, you receive the pin. And nobody knows what the level is. That's the thing. Only I know what the level is. But then once we set the level, then that will be the level. And the other night I joked that it was $10,000. It's not $10,000. But, it'll be a good number. And I want people to have the pins, especially the people who have supported WFO. The point is, 120 on a custom pledge. You can do whatever you want, Monica. You can do whatever you want. That's the thing. People can own it. We have 3 tiers, right? We've got 5, 10, and 20. They all get the same thing. It's about how much you love and you want to help the show. And you realize that it's up there, but we're going to do yearly membership for you, Monica. Don't do anything. We're doing yearly membership. It's coming soon. Still want the Christmas tree. Everybody wants that Christmas tree. That is the original Miami Hollywood. At one point, it was a 5-bulb Krondike tree from the starting line of the southeastern United States' most famous and historic racetrack. That tree has lit Garlits and Jungle Gym and all of that stuff. Like, how many people have got a historic tree sitting in their studio? You should be subscribing to WFO just for that. And whenever I want, now that I got my new practice tree buttons. Oh, I went red. I'm off the bottom. I'm practicing off the bottom. This is for when I go bracket racing. I'll show you my spot. Let's see. Not good. Not good. I won't tell you what that one was. I'm not going to tell you. But see, the point is, this was my first restoration project. I got the tree. Let's see. I'm doing it through the computer, by the way. Notice I'm looking at the screen through the camera. That's why I'm late. Let's try to time it out. One more. This is it. See if I can time out the difference in the 589. 089. I'll take it. Looking at the camera, not looking at the tree behind me, figuring out the delay. I think that was good enough. Let's see what else. They aren't racing in Vegas. No, they're racing in Vegas. They're racing in Vegas. 4 wide Vegas coming up in April. 4 wide Vegas. It's going to be mega. Everybody should check it out. See what else off the bottom so you can get beaten by the Tesla again. Yes. And I was out there in the golf cart race at the Southern Sportsman Showdown. And, the golf cart was reacting pretty quickly. I didn't want to give up my spot. I have developed the spot now for the GTO. And I'm not giving up the spot. So simple as that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Big thanks to our sponsors and everybody who helps the show behind the scenes. Remember, yes, I want you to get face coverings, and I want to throw some WFO stickers in there, maybe a WFO patch or two. But if you want free stickers, I'll send them to you as well. You just got to do all the busy work. Self-addressed stamped envelope and care of Castello Media, and I will send you stickers. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. I'd rather send you a face covering so I can put the logo right on your mug. And becoming a Patreon is great as well. What a week. What a week. Alan Reinhart, Josh Hart, Greg and Matt. I love how Matt was asking him about Cody, right? Like, let's get Cody in the car. I think Cody Anderson would do great. But see, you know what has to happen is Cody's got to go, drive something else. He's got to find a stalker or something to show the desire. Everybody wants to see the desire, I think. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Another great show. Thanks, and great to meet you. You too, Keith. Thank you so much. It looks like you're watching out there on the YouTube. Appreciate that. Subscribe, click the bell. Enjoy your spring break. Thank you, Monica, for not even questioning the spring break. We'll be back. WFO never stops. The archive is loaded. You can find Garlits in there. Leah Pruitt in there, who is now publicly engaged to Tony Stewart. Congratulations to those two. I'm very happy. You've been following Tony's Twitter feed. He's been very excited about it. Great things happening in the world. Things are trending in the right direction. Drag racing world as well. Thanks to Greg. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to everybody out there who goes WFO on a regular basis. Appreciate you guys. Tell your friends. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.